Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. It's all about really one thing, the championship on the line here today. 5 drivers battling for the championship, and it's a winner-take-all scenario. Amongst those drivers, the highest finishing driver of those 5 will become the 2024 champion for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. And look at that great field of race cars assembled along the inside retaining wall, getting ready for 2 laps of qualifying. We had more than 30 cars in the infield here today. We have lost a couple of them due to some mechanical failure. Landon Huffman, the late model stock car ace, was driving the Shamrock Motorsports number 98 today. Unfortunately, a blown engine will take them out of competition. And we just received word that the 83 car for the 101-time winner in the NASCAR Modified Division at Bowman Gray Stadium, Tim Brown, will not be qualifying as well because of engine difficulties underneath the hood of his 83 Modified. But there's a great look at some of the best-looking cars in all of motorsports in America. The rocket ships with wheels, 15-inch tires, 600 horsepower underneath the hood. And we have a collection of drivers from both the north and the south. Drivers from the north invading here today because tomorrow the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour will compete at this racetrack, and that will be a dandy seen on FloRacing as well. First car now on the racetrack here. It's the number 45 machine out of Burlington, North Carolina, in the Ideal Comfort Heating and Air PSR for Gary Young Jr. Gary, a former Ace Modified track champion, will take 2 laps of qualifying at this lightning-fast facility. A test session held just a few weeks ago for several of the modified teams to make sure they had the right tires selected and they get adjusted to this racetrack, because with this new pavement, it's going to be lightning quick here today. White flag in the air for Gary Young Jr. First time of the day, 17.855. First lap of record for Gary Young Jr., the second generation modified pilot here, part-time competitor with the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Beautiful day here in North Wilkesboro. Second lap, not as quick as the first, so that 17.855 will be the lap of record for Gary Young Jr. 29 cars set to qualify here. Next one on the racetrack right now, the number 64 out of Midway, North Carolina, the son of Stadium Stock and Modified competitor at Bowman Gray Stadium, Stephen Truell. This is Ethan Truell making his 3rd start with the Smart Modified Tour at this legendary facility here today. Ethan trying his hand at these high horsepower modifieds, and he takes his first lap, 18.504 for Ethan Truell. Young kid out of Midway, North Carolina. Second lap on the racetrack. He heads into turns 3 and 4 right here, trying to get back to the mat, use up all of that 600 horsepower. He heads to the line. Second lap, a little bit quicker for Ethan Truell, but still second quick of the 2 cars that have qualified, 18.424. Here is a good-looking modified now on the racetrack. The number 09 machine out of Deltona, Florida. That's the Generac car for Chris Hatton Jr. Hatton with some success down at New Smyrna Speedway earlier this year, the 602 modified champion. And now trying his hand at some big horsepower modified wars here with the Smart Modified Tour at North Wilkesboro. First lap, 18.356 for Hatton. He's going to have to pick it up. Just a reminder, the top 8 have the ability, the chance to redraw for their starting spot here today. We'll explain that a little bit later on. Hatton's second lap, 18.184. Let's go down to Derek Bernasiglio standing by with one of the playoff contenders here today.
That's right. Today is the playoff, the final race of all the playoffs, and the championship's going to be decided. Carson Lofton sits atop of all the other top 5 contenders for the championship. How's the car, and how do you think you'll fare in qualifying?
We had a really good car in practice. I thought we were fighting a little bit of a tight condition, and qualifying is going to be crucial tonight. So hopefully we can qualify in the top 5 and stay up there all night and get this thing and ride the elevator tonight.
That's Carson Lofton. He's about ready to go out. We're going to talk to some of the other championship competitors as qualifying is going on. Bob?
The number 18 car for Daniel Yates qualifying here. And Yates goes to second quick, almost in that 17-second bracket. 18.049 for the driver, the Yates Grading and Paving, number 18. Now on the racetrack, the number 22 machine. This driver from Advance, North Carolina, and the Carolina Drilling Tutterow Racing Fury machine for Jason Tutterow. Tutterow, 15 starts with the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. Top 10 finish for him in the King of the Modifieds event at South Boston Speedway back in March. First lap on the racetrack, 18.317 for the driver of the 22. Jason Tutterow has found himself in love with modifieds. He has another car in the field driven by Jimmy Wallace as well. This time by to the checkered flag for Jason Tutterow. And Tutterow, 18.091. He goes to third quick. Back to Derek.
Thanks, Bob. With Luke, Baldwin is about to get ready to go out for qualifying. Do you attack this track differently for qualifying than you do during the race?
No, it's maybe a little bit, just because of a little bit on how sketchy this place is. But, it's the same old, drive it as hard as you can, see how much you can get out of it. My style in qualifying is usually I like to drive it sideways, but you can't really do that here. So we're a little bit more locked down. We're a little bit more locked down tonight, and but that shouldn't change anything. I'm still going to try to get everything I can out of it.
Later today is when we run the race. The temperature is going to drop. What does that do to the racetrack?
I think it'll tighten the racetrack up a little bit. I think all the rubber that's going down and then the track cooling off so much is going to add grip, and extra grip's going to tighten the car up. So hopefully we can guess right on that and have a good race car tonight.
That's Luke Baldwin, one of your championship contenders, hoping to come home with the title today, Bob.
The 69 of John Holleman in the Black Sand Company Vector Security race car out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He goes to the top of the board, 17.654 for John Holleman. Superman pretty quick early in qualifying. Here's one of the playoff contenders now on the racetrack in the number 24 machine. This driver from New Jersey, and he's awfully good. Third generation race car driver. We like to see what he's going to do here today. Danny Bohn in the Amerifast Supply Buddy Ellis machine. Coming around to take his first lap of record here. And Danny Bohn, fast time for him on his first lap. 17.512 for the driver out of Freehold, New Jersey. His dad, Eddie Bohn, with him here today. His granddad was Parker Bohn. All three drivers in the Bohn family very, very quick no matter what racetrack they went to. His first lap was the best, so that 17.512 stands as the top time so far here in qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour. Derek, who you got now, bud?
Well, Justin Bonsignore is going to make his first Smart Modified Tour start today, and are you here to stink up the show?
I mean, I wish, but there's 30 good cars here that are going to put on a good race tonight, and more than anything, we just came here to have some fun. We tested a couple weeks ago and really enjoyed ourselves, and the shop's here in Mooresville now, so it's a pretty easy decision for us to race a little more in the South, and hoping to have a good run tonight, and if anything, hopefully learn something for tomorrow, and who knows, maybe we'll make some more of these in the future.
Rumor has it you've run this car all year. Has this been all reliable for you?
This was a brand new car at the beginning of this year, and we ran it up until last week at Thompson. We switched cars and ran a new one, and this is our backup for the rest of the year. Just hoping to just keep learning with it. It's still new, but it's not as new as the car we're going to run tomorrow. So more than anything, like I said, just here to have some fun, be respectful of everybody that's going for the championship, and just have a good time.
Well, Justin Bonsignore is a three-time Tour Modified champion. He'll get some extra laps here on Saturday before he goes to chase for another championship on Sunday.
Well, thank you so much, Derek. Jason Myers took time while we were away. Jason Myers, top time so far, 17.510 for Jason Myers out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina. Now is the number 21 out of Reedy Creek, North Carolina. This driver finished top 10 in the King of the Modifieds event at South Boston Speedway earlier this year. Jimmy Wallace, 17.932. The first lap for Jimmy Wallace, the veteran on the racetrack. Checkered flag is out for Jimmy. He races to the stripe. And Jimmy Wallace a little bit better on his second lap. Fifth quick overall, 17.902. Fifth quick for Jimmy Wallace. This next driver was not happy with his race car during practice earlier today. The number 25 machine now on the racetrack. Good-looking race car. Driver out of Maiden, North Carolina. The Mark III Financial Units Moving and Storage Buzzy Racing Machine for Dommy Buzzy. We'll see what Buzzy can do, but while we watch his qualifying lap, let's go back to DP.
Thanks, Bob. And as the cars are going out, we're talking to the guy who everybody's been talking about this week. Bert Myers, have you come up for air yet?
Oh yeah, we're just happy to be here. We love coming to North Wilkesboro. What they've done to this facility, they've made this one of the funnest race tracks for a modified I've ever been to. So we're here to have a good time and see if we can't win today.
You got your first win at South Boston last week. You've been waiting a long time to get that one. What would it mean to get one here?
I'm the only one in the Myers family who hasn't won here, so we're hoping to check that off our list today.
Well, that's another one that's hoping to come off the checklist for Bert Myers and the #1 team as they pursue their Smart Modified Tour Championship run.
Tommy Buzzy went to 4th quick before this next driver went out on the racetrack from Corpus Christi, Texas, former NASCAR champion and Hall of Famer because of all of his success in the big leagues of NASCAR. Bobby Labonte, 4th quick now for him, first lap. A little bit better on that second lap though, 17.654 for Bobby Labonte, 3rd quick overall for the driver out of Texas. Now on the racetrack, the number 11 machine. This driver north of the border, out of Canada. Run some modifieds up there, as well as ran some modifieds down at New Smyrna Speedway during Florida Speed Weeks. It's Norman Newman. Right in the middle in terms of the qualifying speed, or I should say practice speed earlier today. First lap on the racetrack for Norman Newman, 18.022. 12 cars have qualified so far here. Almost 30 cars will take laps here during qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour. And Norman Newman, that is, goes to 6th quick overall, 17.843 for the driver of the number 11. Here's a driver that had an eventful practice earlier today in the number 79 out of Newtown, Connecticut. That's a Sundrop EME Industrial Walkertown Hill Troyer machine for Hillbilly Motorsports. It's Anthony Bello, the Connecticut kid. Bello, first lap, good run for him last week at South Boston. Top 10 finish, 6th quick on his first lap. 17.731. Bello top 10 in his first full season in terms of the point standings for the Smart Modified Tour. Good-looking, brightly colored car, a little bit sideways off the corner. Bello, 6th quick. His first lap, much better than his second lap. That 17.731 will stand for Anthony Bello. Here's a driver that a lot of people know if you have followed modified racing for a long time here around the north or the south. Out of Endicott, New York, in the Connolly Company's Speed 77 Mystic Missile Racing Machine for 9-time NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour winner, Tim Connolly. Connolly, first lap, 17.993. First lap of record for Tim Connolly. Let's go back to Derek.
Thanks, Bob. Danny Bohn already took his qualifying lap. He's currently 2nd quick on the board. Pulled out a really fast lap, but will it stick?
Nah, I mean, I'm hoping we can stay around 10th. Obviously, these faster cars are getting ready to go, so we obviously picked up a little bit from practice, which we knew we would. We didn't mock up or anything or in practice, so I think we have really good balance in the race car, so if we can be 10th, 15th, something like that, I think we'll be all right for the race.
The temperatures are going up. How's the track?
So I think it's going to slow down now a little bit, but obviously these cars are a little bit faster, but tonight when the cooler temperatures come in, the track's going to grip up. You're going to see faster speeds, and I think the track will free up a little bit later on.
Bob, that's Danny Bohn, one of our championship contenders.
Danny Bohn, a lot on the line for him here today. Tim Connolly, 10th quick. And now Johnny Kievman on the racetrack in that 48 car. He goes to 4th quick, 17.576. Second lap pretty quick for Johnny K out of Florida. Several New Jersey drivers in the field. The next one in this beautiful black and orange number 24 machine out of Homedale, New Jersey, in the Supreme Manufacturing Pete and Elvis Bar and Pizzeria Oval Speed Unlimited LFR for Andrew Krauss. Krauss, a great season for him at Wall Stadium in Belmar, New Jersey. 6 victories and his 2nd championship in the modified division at that famed high-banked racetrack in New Jersey. Krauss has competed with a Smart Modified Tour top 10 finish for him earlier this year. He goes to 4th quick on his first lap, 17.539. Drivers should be getting quicker and quicker because they reversed, in terms of the qualifying order, they reversed the practice speeds from earlier today. Checkered flag is out. 3rd quick for Andrew Krauss, 17.525 for the driver of the 24. A lot of invaders here today, but here is a full-time competitor with the Smart Modified Tour, and the number 16 out of Oxford, North Carolina, that Pace-O-Matic SNS Racing PSR machine for J Cash, Jonathan Cash. Cash, top 10 in the points coming into this one. White flag is out. Jonathan Cash, pretty good lap on his first one, 17.518 for Jonathan Cash, still knocking on the door for his first trip to victory lane with the Smart Modified Tour. He's got it tucked down to the bottom, trying to stand on that mat, coming to the checkered flag for Jonathan Cash. And Cash, 17.518, his first lap will be the best for Jonathan Cash. He will remain 3rd quick so far in qualifying. Red, white, and blue machine now on the racetrack. That is the number 43 out of Bennington, New Hampshire for Matt Kimball. 6 wins for him in the battle for the Cup, a modified series amongst the New Hampshire racetracks. Kimball pretty good in practice earlier today, 17.703, his time in his first lap of qualifying for the driver of the number 43. Kimball able to keep it pinned to the bottom. That should improve his lap a little bit. It does, just a touch. 7th quick for Matthew Kimball, 17.643 on his 2nd lap around North Wilkesboro. Another championship contender now on the racetrack. The driver of the number 2 out of South Bend, Indiana, in the Shitty Coolers, Finzer Rollers, Capital Automotive Group, Aggressive Hydraulics, Montrose Molders PSR machine for Ryan Newman. Newman, former Daytona 500 winner, battling for a championship. He loves these modifieds. They're low, light, and fast. 17.600 for Ryan Newman, 7th quick on his first lap of record. Love watching Ryan Newman muscle these cars around the racetrack. Ryan Newman, 6th quick, 17.559, a little bit better for Ryan Newman on his 2nd lap. Right now in the top 8 that have an opportunity to actually redraw a little bit later on here today. We'll explain that. This next driver in the number 8 machine, he's out of Worcester, Massachusetts, in the 82 Services General Contractor Heinz Performance LFR car for John Michael Chenette. Norman Newman, what a great run for him here today, Derek.
That's right. Norman Newman only runs maybe a handful of times in tour-type modified competition. Currently sits 12th in the running order. And did you know you had that good of a lap laid down when you were out there?
I was really hoping for a little better myself, but we're holding pace, which is good. I'm excited for the race.
So you've come all the way from Canada. How is it racing on this track compared to the other tracks you've been to?
Oh, this is a whole nother beast. Short tracks back home, 602 crate stuff. So these things got crazy horsepower and a lot of sticky rubber to go with it.
Well, he's raced at New Smyrna in the past. He's had a couple of laps in some tour-type modified competition. Norman Newman's having fun here today with the Smart Modified Tour.
John Michael Chenette in that 8 machine, 9th quick, but we have a new fast time on the racetrack, and that was only on his first lap. Sammy Rameau out of Massachusetts, 17.459 first lap. Let's see if he improves it, and he does. Sammy Rameau on the provisional pole so far, 17.364 for that driver out of New England. A winner on the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic just last year. Here's another one of the championship contenders. Derek Perniciglio spoke to him just a little while ago before he climbed behind the wheel of this number 23 machine out of Lexington, North Carolina. In the L&R Transmissions LeBlue Bottled Water QMF Metal Fabrication PSR for the kid Carson Lofton. And Lofton, quick time so far, 17.324 for the 16-year-old and the 23. Lofton, the last handful of racers, it's been a roller coaster for him. Can he improve a little bit on his second lap? He does not. First lap with a 17.324, the best so far, and that puts him number 1 on the board so far here during Pace-O-Matic Pole Award qualifying. The number 02 out of Miami Springs, Florida, in the Torch Eyewear Molecule Air Shock Drive Refined SRI Performance Bilstein Fury machine for Joey Coulter. Coulter, former winner on the NASCAR Truck Series, now competing with the Smart Modified Tour. Coulter, 8th quick first lap, 17.543, 6th place in the point standings, just outside of those playoff contenders going after the title this weekend here at North Wilkesboro. To the line, Coulter improves mightily, 17.415, 3rd quick for Joey Coulter. Carson Lofton so far still with the top time here in qualifying. Here's another guy to keep an eye on here this weekend. Driving the Jensen Motorsports machine here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. This is the 179 car for the 2nd generation race car driver out of Northampton, Pennsylvania, Austin Beers. And Beers is 3rd quick on his first lap, 17.379. Beers, a 3-time winner in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. His dad, Eric Beers, one of the legends of modified racing from the Northeast. Checkered flag is out for Austin Beers. 17.379 first lap, the best for Austin Beers. He's 3rd quick, just with a few cars left in qualifying. Another championship contender now on the racetrack. The driver of the number 7 VA out of Mooresville, North Carolina, in the Pace-O-Matic Stanley Law Group Mohawk Northeast PSR machine for Sadler Stanley Racing. It's Luke Baldwin. Baldwin, just 18 years old, and Baldwin 4th quick, 17.414, his first lap. Baldwin, 2 wins this year on the Smart Modified Tour, 3rd generation modified racer. His granddad, the Tiger Tom Baldwin, back in the day in the 7NY. Checkered flag is out. Baldwin, number 1 on the board, the playoff contender on the Pace-O-Matic provisional pole so far, 17.312. Just 1/100th of a second between him and his buddy Carson Lofton in the first 2 so far here in qualifying. The kids rocking it so far here today at this racetrack. Here's the number 12 PA out of Statesville, North Carolina, and the Cherokee Unlimited All-American Roofing and Restoration Troyer machine for Jake the Snake Crum. And Jake Crum, 6th quick on his first circuit around this facility, 17.444 for Jake Crum. Oh, stops it a little bit down there. Will that pause hurt him? Jake Crum, 3rd quick, 17.364 for Jake Crum out of Statesville, North Carolina. Here's a guy that everybody is looking to as a threat to ride the lift at the end of the event. 99 laps will be the distance tonight for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. And this driver in the number 51 machine out of Holtzville, New York. And it's a Troyer car for Justin Bonsignore. Bonsignore, 43 wins on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. Used to be a karting kid when I lived on Rhode Island, Washington years ago. But Bonsignore, first lap the quickest, 17.291. Can he do better? No, he cannot. First lap, quick enough for Justin Bonsignore. He's number 1 on the board so far here in qualifying. Just a couple of cars left here for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. This next driver, a fan favorite and a playoff contender out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina, in the Citrus Egg Cleaners, Peanut Patch Backyard Leisure Pool and Spas PSR for the ace, Bert Myers. Bert Myers, 7th quick, 17.387 on his first lap. Myers, a 3-time Smart Modified Tour champion, a winner just last week at South Boston Speedway in Virginia. Wants to keep himself at least in that top 8. Bert Myers, he'll do better than that. Number 1 on the speed charts in qualifying so far for Bert Myers out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina. And the final car to qualify here today. He was quickest in practice, and he's awfully good here at North Wilkesboro Speedway out of Northampton, Pennsylvania, in the Boykin Spaniel Rescue, Collier Trucking, Florida Connection, Long Island Mod, Maniac Troyer. It's big money, Matt Hirschman. And how about that? Matt Hirschman, number one. No surprise whatsoever here. First lap, very quick, and he's going to shut it down because that's all he needs. 17.196 for Matt Hirschman, a two-time winner already here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Save those tires is what Matt Hirschman did. That's why he shut it down. Later on today, all these teams will have one tire at their disposal during the 99-lap race to take at whatever juncture that they want to. But there it is. On top of the board, it's the number 60 machine for Matt Hirschman. Second is Bert Myers. Third, Justin Bonsignore. Fourth is Luke Baldwin, the other kid, Carson Lofton, fifth. Jake Crum is sixth. Sammy Rameau in seventh, and Austin Beers in eighth. So those are the top 8. Rounding out the top 10, Joey Coulter in ninth and Jason Myers in 10th. And here's what we'll do. In just a little while, we will actually redraw for the starting spots amongst a group of drivers. How we determine that group of drivers is Matt Hirschman will pick a pill out of the hat. He'll pick a 4, a 6, or an 8. And by virtue of whatever pill he draws, that number of drivers, as their results indicated during qualifying, will redraw for their starting spot. So it could be the top 4, the top 6, or the top 8 from qualifying results here today at the Smart Championship finale at North Wilkesboro Speedway. There is Hirschman. Hirschman's done just about everything he can do. He's definitely the most decorated modified racer over the course of the last decade or two here in modified racing. In fact, we want to say a shout out to Jimmy Blewett. We're thinking about you, bud. He had to actually go to the hospital last night, and Jimmy Blewett, a full-time competitor here with a Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic, came into this race 7th in points, but right now is tending to his health. And Jimmy, Showtime, we love you, man. We're thinking about the entire Blewett family. We hope you're real good here real soon. But Jimmy Blewett, the reason why I mention him, not only to give him a speedy recovery, is because he calls Matt Hirschman the modern era Richie Evans. And we knew Richie Evans, the king of modified racing, 9-time NASCAR National Modified Champion, was so good. But Matt Hirschman, pretty good indeed as well. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at the top 5 championship contenders, those drivers battling for the championship here today, and where they wound up in the qualifying order here today as we're awaiting Matt Hirschman to climb out of that race car. Still plenty of racing action to go here as well. Remember we have the ZMAX Cars Tour, both pro late models and late model stock cars. They qualified last night here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. But those championship contenders, a lot on the line for them here today. The number 2 car for Ryan Newman, the deepest in the field as far as the championship 5 here today. Ryan Newman qualified 15th. And then there's Danny Bohn. He sat on top of the speed charts for just a little while. Danny Bohn in that number 24 car, he wound up 11th quick. Danny Bohn, a win at Carteret County Speedway Labor Day weekend. There's the kid Carson Lofton, technically won the regular season because today is the final race of the year, and Carson Lofton had a good qualifying run, 5th. Luke Baldwin here, 18 years old, 3rd generation modified racer Luke Baldwin, 4th quick overall. But the fastest man of the championship 5, this driver in the number 1 car for Bert Myers. Bert Myers qualified in the 2nd spot. And by the way, we were talking about Matt Hirschman. You see a lot of the cars, they are lining them up on the front stretch right now. But Matt Hirschman in that 60 machine, we talked about how much he has done in his career. And the apple didn't fall far from the tree because his dad, Tony Hirschman, one of the best ever in modified racing, a 5-time NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour champion was Tony Hirschman, and his kid is pretty darn good as well. He's won a bunch of times in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, 9 overall, 60 wins in the Race of Champions Modified Series. And by the way, 9 of those victories have come in one of the biggest races of all time in modified lore, and that is the Race of Champions 250 that they hold every year. It was held just a few weeks ago at Lake Erie Speedway, and guess who won that? Big Money Matt as well. So he's won just about everything. 21 Tri-Track Modified Series wins. He's won 20 times at New Smyrna Speedway during Florida Speed Weeks as well. So this guy just so good. And by the way, he's won a bunch of races down here as well. He's one of the Smart Tour. He's a 9-time winner of the North-South Shootout. That race will be held in early November at Caraway Speedway in Sophia, North Carolina. So Matt Hirschman, he's done just about everything but win the championship on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Let's meet your pole winner here today with Pace-O-Matic, the tag on that sponsor for that pole award. He's with Derek Pernasiglio.
Well, Matt Hirschman is no stranger to victory lane here. He's won before, and Matt, it looked so confident when you went out there. You didn't even have to do a second lap. Did you know it was going to be good for the pole?
Well, I didn't know prior to going, but at the end of my lap 1, I really did think if that's not the pole, I don't know that I can even go any faster or get any more out of it. But when they told me it was P1, there was no sense in trying. So far, I mean, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying. But now comes the hard part. These races, they're not easy to win, and it's definitely going to be a bit of an unknown because nobody's ever raced modifieds here on this fresh pavement as to how much fall off there will be, what to do on pit strategy, and there's, like I said, it's kind of it's anyone's game here, anyone's shot. We'll just see if we can hit it right tonight, and what difference the track brings cooler tonight and under the lights, and we'll go from there.
That was going to be my next question. When the track goes green for racing, the temperature is going to be a lot cooler. How do you adjust yourself as a driver as well as the car?
Well, it is a bit of a guess, especially when we've never done this before. If we had experience here or at any track, you can rely on your notes and previous experiences, but there isn't any of that tonight for anyone really. So we'll make our best guess, and we'll see if we guess right.
Well, usually those best guesses work out pretty well for Matt Hirschman. They don't call him Big Money Matt for nothing, Bob.
Matt Hirschman is just so good, Derek. We mentioned all those victories and so forth, but that knowledge that he gained from his dad and just growing up around the modified scenes for so long has really made him not only a good race car driver, but good at figuring out what they need to do to the race car to make it consistent, not only in qualifying, but in the race as well. In fact, for a big portion of his career, Matt Hirschman was not necessarily great in qualifying, but he was always like a stealth bomber and very good in the race, and now he's both. So he's going to be a threat to get the victory here today. Folks, we have a lot coming up here at North Wilkesboro Speedway today. Fan Fest at 4 o'clock. Fans here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and if you're in the area, you want to come out here because you're going to see some great racing action, both fendered and open wheel. You can get autographs with all your favorite drivers from 4 to 4:45, and then those driver intros. And we got a lot of cars here in the infield with 3 different